Hi, Bitterkins! Bitter here. One of the barrage of videos that I'm recording today so that you guys have something to watch over the next couple weeks while I'm crazy busy uprooting and moving my whole life. I'm gonna do my first book review. I promised in my introduction video that there was gonna be a fuckload of books, and yeah, this is the beginning. I want to say that first off, the book that I'm going to review, I'm probably not going to do justice to this book in this review, but I'm going to try, because this is the book that was the Rosetta Stone for the Bitters and Broomsticks project as it has begun to evolve. I was very, very interested in cocktails and magic, and one of the hurdles that I came across in figuring out how those two things were going to go together was knowing what is in a lot of liqueurs, because a lot of those recipes are kept very, very secret. So I hemmed and hawed and I wrote some things down and all sorts of junk, and then eventually I stumbled across this book, and it took me a little while to purchase it, but then eventually in the half-price books in Tacoma I saw it for cheap. I've mentioned the half-price books in Tacoma before. We have a very special relationship. So I bought it, and that book is The Drunken Botanist by Amy Stewart. This book is fantastic. I love this book. You should pick it up, and you should read it. It's amazing. Here's the deal. What Amy Stewart does in this book, and Amy Stewart is actually a very well-respected botanist in the world of botany. I have this on authority from Hawk, the herbalist off camera. She has written a number of other books. I think it's like, there's a book about poisonous plants and a book about bugs that'll kill you, that are both really, really good. They both have this this is a beautiful book, just in and of itself. This is a hardback version. It's got a great cover. It's super, super pretty and very all vintagey looking. It's really frick sturdy. Like, I have had this in my purse for several months, and it does not look worse for the wear. Her tone is incredibly conversational. She's very easy to read, which is helpful when you're reading about botany and science stuff and you don't have a background in botany or science stuff. I have a background in theater. I honestly studied theater and witchcraft in college, with some business thrown in there. So that's kind of where my background is. But she, like I said, she has a super conversational tone. She's very fun to read, very easy to understand. And what she does in this book is she essentially breaks down most of the liqueurs that you're going to be able to find in your local Boozneyland, and tells you what's in them and what they are and how they're made. So if I open up to the section on apples, or juniper, she's going to tell me something, apples specifically, because the chapter on apples in this thing is super, there was a little kitty that just ran across my outside, so that's why I got momentarily distracted. I'm sorry. He's super cute, but he was going somewhere, so I can't show him to you. There we go. Apples. She's going to tell you about apples, and about sort of the botany and biology behind apples, which is actually really interesting. They're extremely heterozygous, if I'm saying that word right, and if I'm remembering it right. Like, no two apple trees are the same, and the only reason you get, like, mass-produced apples is through grafting. It's really cool. But she's going to tell you about apples, and then she's going to tell you what is made from apples. Like, I think she talks about cider a little bit. Not a whole lot. She doesn't spend a lot of time in cider. She tells you about Applejack, though, and Applejack is delicious. We'll probably have a different video about Applejack, just because I like it so much. It is one of the ingredients in a cocktail that I'm working on for Coco the Spooky Librarian, but it has been put by the wayside right now. That project is on the back burner because I'm moving. And I will soon have to pack all my bar I bar things, which makes me very sad. But anyway, she'll tell you about how it's made. Like, she'll tell you about the plant, she'll tell you about the alcohol and how it's made, and then she'll tell you some about the history of that alcohol, and often, some of the folklore behind it. If you start delving into the history of cocktails, and there are several books that do this, it gets real convoluted real quick. And there's a lot of very famous cocktail makers and barmen and the sunshine has decided to come behind the clouds now, so I'm getting this glowy thing going on. Gets very convoluted, so she doesn't delve too deep into that, because I'm almost certain she knows that that's not her area, and that she's just like, this is going to be an interesting tidbit that I can kind of prove, so I'm going to tell you about it. But I learned a lot from this book. I use this book as a reference all of the time to, if I'm going to look at a cocktail and try and use it as spell work to see what's in it, what I'm actually working with. The section in here on gin is actually very, very good. Gin is one of those that you are never necessarily going to know everything that's in your gin unless you make it yourself. Because gin manufacturers are very secretive about what is in their gin, with good reason, because some of the good gin manufacturers have been around for a couple hundred years now, making their stuff pretty much unchanged. She tells you what is generally in gin. Juniper, we know that one, and then a few other things like angelica and I think ginger and lemon peel and that kind of stuff. That's all in there, but you can get a general rule of thumb, which I'm fine with. Anything after that, I'm going to choose what is tasty and what feels right. So that is fantastic. Like I said, highly, highly recommend this book. If you want to delve a little deeper into herbal study, and especially in the realm of liqueurs, which I think are a now sort of forgotten and maligned way of preserving herbs. A lot of people talk about tinctures and that kind of thing. Bitters are essentially a tincture. Most herbal liqueurs started out as medicine. Jägermeister started as a medicinal. A lot of them are still labeled as digestives, which is digestive cordials that are supposed to help you digest. It's supposed to aid in digestion. A lot of them actually do. There's another book that I need to kind of finish reading, and I'll do a review on very soon, called Apothecary Cocktails. That you should probably check out. It's really good. But I just want to say thank you so much. Bitters and Blessings, again. Amy Stewart, Drunken Botanist, highly recommend. Pick it up, take a look. This is a staple in my witchy book collection, even though it is not a witchy book. Alright, Bitters and Blessings. Bitter.